Kristen. Okay, well, welcome to Benjamin, Nicole, and Kristen. I'm Amanda Garcia. I'm the program director for our media and design programs. And today we're joined by Dr. Tamar Grigorian, who is our professor of practice for public relations and our media programs, as well as Alexis Stone, who is our senior academic advisor for all of our media and design programs. And we're so happy to have you here today. We're going to talk a little bit about our programs, what we have to offer for the various degrees, and talk about application deadlines and answer any questions that you might have. So today we have a few different people on the call who are interested in things from graphic design to digital marketing to public relations. So we're going to speak a little bit to all of that. So within our media and design program, we actually encapsulate everything from digital design to public relations. We also have a minor in advertising. So you can't major in advertising, but we have a minor in advertising and a certificate, as well as digital media and marketing. So that's all under the media and design umbrella. So whichever program you decide to plug into, we have cross collaboration among all of those different arenas. We do have full bachelor's degrees in public relations, digital media marketing, and digital design. And within digital design, you can declare a track in either graphic design or interactive UX UI. And then we also have, I know a couple of you are interested in our post-bac certificates. So that means that you already have a bachelor's degree and you're interested in pursuing an additional certificate. So our post-bac certificates can be in our graphic design or interactive UX UI. And then we also have professional certificates, either in public relations, digital media marketing, or advertising. So within all of this, there's a few things that really make us stand out among other programs in the country. The first is our expert faculty. So within all of our programs, we have faculty who are working practitioners. So for example, Tamar, myself, Rebecca Carr, who you will meet at some point within digital design. We are all working professionals in our area. And then we also have a ton of amazing adjunct faculty who are working professionals and experts in their specific area of expertise. So for example, if you're taking a digital content strategy class, you are taking a course with someone who does that day in and day out as their actual full-time job. So you are getting the most up-to-date information from the workforce. And that's something that really is a huge differentiator for our program that you're not going to find in many other programs. We've seen it be wildly successful with our students. It really helps with internship placement because you have those direct connections within the workforce. It also really helps keep all of our content super fresh and relevant as well. So our faculty who are working practitioners are constantly updating their courses every single semester with new and fresh content based on what they are seeing in the workforce. Something else that really sets us apart is our commitment to online education and online learning. So we do have on-ground classes. So if you're interested in taking courses in person, we do offer courses in person, but we also offer most of our programs fully online. So if you're interested in taking a course or two online and some in person, you can definitely do that. If you are not in the area and are interested in taking everything 100% online, we also have that as an option. We were one of the early adopters, SOPA, and I'll talk about what SOPA is in just a minute, at Tulane for online education. So we have been doing online education before, COVID and before Zoom was as popular as it is today. So we've been building courses online and perfecting these practices for almost 5 years. So if you are taking an online course, just know that we have a team of what we call instructional design experts who are actually designing those courses with online learning techniques in mind, right? So you're not just using Canvas or Blackboard, if you're familiar with either one of those, as supplementary learning tools. It's actually integrated into the way that you're learning and experience the course. So that's something else that really sets us apart. Something else is our flexibility. So not only do we have online and on-ground classes, but we also have flexibility in our time of day for our courses. So we have our traditional courses that could begin at 9 a.m., noon, 3 p.m., but then we also have courses that begin at 6 p.m. And they go from 6 to 8:40. So if you're a working professional and you need to take courses after your typical workday, we have that availability. We also have Saturday courses if you're interested in that. But then we also have traditional courses for our more traditional students who might be coming out of high school. I know that we have a couple students on the call who might be coming directly out of high school. Or if you just want to take courses during the day, if you have that flexibility, we also have that as an option. So we're trying to make it as accessible as possible for you guys by offering those varying studio and course times. We also have various campuses. We have our Uptown campus that you might be familiar with in New Orleans, but then we also have a campus out at Elmwood. So if you're familiar with the area, you might be familiar with the Elmwood area where we have most of our public relations and digital design courses out there in our labs and lecture rooms, et cetera. And that is actually where Alexis is located and Tamar's office is located. So when you're out there for your courses, it's very easy to pop in and speak to an advisor or a faculty advisor as well. So we are located within Tulane in the School of Professional Advancement. And so we get a lot of questions. What is the School of Professional Advancement, right? So there's many different schools within Tulane. There's a School of Social Work, there's the Law School, there's a Med School, et cetera, School of Liberal Arts. We are the School of Professional Advancement. And what that means is that we have a commitment to applied learning. So whereas in the law school, you might get your Juris Doctorate or become an attorney, in the School of Professional Advancement, you could become a paralegal. Right. So in the School of Liberal Arts, you might become a fine artist, a painter, a sculptor. But in the School of Professional Advancement, you might become a designer or web designer, et cetera. So it's the applied side of the other schools. It's kind of the easiest way to think about it. And what that affords us is the opportunity to change our tuition rates to be aligned more with those applied degrees. So each school, like I mentioned before, law school, et cetera, all have different tuition rates. So our tuition rates are slightly discounted. They're much lower than the Newcomb Tulane typical rate because once again, we do house the applied programs and we want to make it successful and accessible for our continuing education students. So if you're a working professional, or if you're a traditional student going into an applied area, we want to make going to Tulane SOPA as accessible as we can. So our rates are much lower than you would expect for Newcomb Tulane College. And you may have already seen some of that on our website, but we can give you more information about that shortly. Alexis, I think, probably has the cost per tuition rate. She's going to talk about that in a little bit, as well as some deadlines for applying. We also, something that we really pride ourselves in is that we have a ton of student support and success measures put in place. So when you come to school at Tulane SOPA, not only are you going to have expert faculty and flexible hours and online versus on ground, et cetera, but you're also going to have access to a wide range of academic advising. You're also going to have access to our full-time career coach who can help you with your resume, getting internship placements or job placements after graduation. We also have a ton of student organizations that I also feel fall into that support and success arena. We have our American Institute of Graphic Artists, our AIGA, if you're familiar with that. It's a national organization that supports students in the design fields. Oh man, Benjamin, I really like your photo. It's awesome. I need to know more about this photo. Okay. We also have a student chapter of the American Advertising Federation, our AAF, and that supports anyone who's in any of our different areas in media and design actually could be part of the advertising world because it kind of all falls under that advertising umbrella. We also have our PRSSA, our Public Relations Student Society of America organizations for our public relations students. And once again, any of our other students who are interested in those fields and ways to make connections and excel in those areas. And so those organizations meet monthly. They enter into competitions, they go to monthly luncheons as kind of coordinated by the local and regional club affiliates. So once again, those programs are not only free for our own students here at SOPA, but it also gives you that support for that connection back again to the workforce for internship placement and job placement. So that's another thing that really sets us apart from other schools, is that we offer those at no cost to you as a student. Is there any questions before we move forward so far? I know I'm covering a lot of things. No? Okay. Other advantages to our program within media and design, you will have access to our Adobe Creative Cloud. So regardless of what your major is, you get free access and 100% access to Adobe Creative Cloud subscriptions. So whether you're in public relations, digital marketing, digital design, or advertising, you get those licenses for free. We also have subscriptions to things such as HubSpot, Google, et cetera, for you, so that you are not out of pocket for those pieces of software. And we also use LinkedIn Learning. I don't know if you're familiar with LinkedIn Learning or if you ever used lynda.com, but LinkedIn bought lynda.com. So now it's LinkedIn Learning. And it is thousands of videos with pretty much any area of expertise and content that you could imagine, from software to writing a business plan, to writing a marketing plan, to writing a public relations plan. I mean, or a communications plan. It's pretty robust. And so that comes to you completely free through our program as well. So your Tulane login actually gets you access to all of those things, which is pretty phenomenal. And all of our faculty take advantage of that in their different courses. So we really see that as an advantage. I'm going to punt it over to Alexis. Alexis, if you want to talk a little bit about advising and perhaps dates for applying and that sort of thing.
Sure. Hi, everyone. As Amanda said, I am the academic advisor for the Media and Design Department. If most of you guys are interested in applying for spring, the last day to submit your online application is January 1st. That's the last day admissions will accept any applications. The semester does start January 18th, which is a Tuesday. So depending on how you make your schedule, the Tuesday may be your first day, or it'll be sometime that week. So if you apply by the 1st, it's still kind of pushing it, but at least you'll be able to enroll. If you already know that you want to apply for the spring, we encourage you to go ahead and do your application now, especially if you're submitting transcripts for transfer credit. And if you're applying for financial aid, as we all know, the financial aid process does take a little bit of time. So if you want to go ahead and get a jump and start that now, we highly recommend that. You are also eligible for a 20% discount if you are a full-time city or parish employee, if you're a teacher, if you're active duty military, or if you're a Tulane alum, or if you're over the age of 60. You're eligible for a 20% discount. Once you actually apply and are registered for classes, then we can walk you through the process of getting that discount. And as Dr. Garcia mentioned, our SOPA tuition rate is discounted for SOPA students. It's $576 per credit. Typically a class is 3 credit hours. So it's a substantial difference between SOPA and Newcomb Tulane tuition rate. So we encourage you, whenever you're scheduling classes, to always look for a SOPA course, because as a SOPA student, we encourage you to take SOPA courses to get that tuition rate. Also, one other thing I want to mention is that if you apply, get accepted and register for classes by December 1st, that deadline is coming up really fast, you are eligible for a early registration like scholarship. So $200 basically will be applied to your student account as a credit for early enrollment. That deadline is coming up really fast. It's already almost December. So if you can get in and register by that day, the credit will get applied to your account. If not, it's okay. You can still apply and still register and still enroll in for classes. If anyone has questions about transfer credit, I can walk you through that process. If you're a PVC student, we can walk you through that as well. It just depends on, everyone's situation is different. So it just depends on what you need. But I would be your first person of contact for advising. And then I will refer you to either Dr. Garcia or Dr. Gregorian if you have any specific questions about the major.
And I'll drop your email into, as well as mine, into the chat.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Alexis. That was very thorough. I appreciate that. So what questions can we answer for all of you on the call today? Anything specific about your intended area of study? Anything about applying? Anything like that?
Hi, it's Ben.
Hey.
I've been out of school for a very long time. I do work as a graphic designer at an advertising agency, but I do need to retool and, refocus and learn some more stuff out there. And just interested in, trying to figure out what path to take, definitely with as it relates to websites and digital media. But I will probably, I find that I'll be really busy and I have my hands in a lot of different things. So I probably wouldn't be able to take more than one class at a time. But just trying to figure out where would be the best place to start for someone who has, been in graphic design for 30 years.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And to put your mind at rest, I mean, we do have students in your same exact boat, right?
Mhm.
Who are taking one class a semester, maybe two, as they're working full time. So it's not unusual, and you'll meet students in your classes in the exact same situation that you're in. I would highly recommend you create almost, we can do like a hybrid between the graphic design post-bac and the interactive UX UI post-bac. So the way our post-bac programs work for anyone else on the call who's interested, it's just 10 courses, no matter how you slice it, right? So once you finish those 10 courses, you're done with the post-bac certificate. So it's 30 credit hours, i.e. 10 courses. So knowing that you already have an expertise in some of these areas, what we can do is, if you want to send some samples, and I can email you after this of your work, and you could say, listen, like I am already proficient in this, 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 and this, then that's great. Then instead of starting at the top of the list, we kind of start in the middle, and that gives you that 10 course adjustment. So instead of starting at the very beginning and going 1 through 10, now you can kind of start a little more advanced and take 10 courses that are really going to round out your portfolio. So we can't give you credit for those skills as a post-bac student that you may already have. We can only do that when you're a full bachelor's, if you're getting another BA. But what we can do is adjust the courses that you're required to take based on the expertise that you already have. And what I would recommend, you would work really closely with Alexis and I, and we would say, these are the 10 courses we recommend. And then we should also do some UX UI stuff, because you mentioned web, app, etc. So I think you probably, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you might want to get some expertise in those areas as well. Yeah. Something that's super unique about our program is we've come up with very articulated matriculation guides. So at any point, you know exactly what classes you have remaining. We have one for every program and every track with every certificate or bachelor's that you could think of. And it really outlines everything you're required to take. So it's very easy at any point in your career with us to know exactly what you have left and what's expected of you. I was going to show you an example of that. We try to make it as easy as possible, basically, for everyone to understand, where they are in the program with us and what's remaining. But we can always customize that. You could put it that way. We can always customize that for each student, knowing that people are coming in at different levels of expertise, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What we can do after this call is email you the UX UI and then the graphic design matriculation guides. And then you could kind of see what courses, thank you, what courses are in both of them. So this is an example of the graphic design PVC. Yeah. So you can see how it shows all the different courses in what order. And once again, we have this for public relations, digital marketing, etc. So it tells you which courses to take in which order, and that sort of thing. So it's very, very refined. So that way it's very easy for you guys to know, where you are at any given point.
Gotcha. Cool.
But it's basically for the PVC, it's 10 courses.
Like, you're saying PBC?
PVC, yeah, post-bac certificate. So
Gotcha.
because you already have an undergrad degree, you would be doing a post-bac certificate.
Gotcha. Okay.
Those are great questions, though.
Thank you.
And we can touch base specifically on like which courses to start with, that kind of thing. Yeah. Nicole, Amanda, Kristen, any questions for us specifically that we can answer for you?
Hey, so
Hey.
my name is Kristen. Right now, I'm currently a Tulane staff member, I guess, but I was interested in public relations and marketing. I didn't know how the certificates worked versus a master's. I wanted to try to get my master's in liberal arts, I'm sorry, but I didn't know how the certificates could mesh or if they can mesh, how that
Alexis,
would
can
work.
you pursue both of those at the same time? Do you know?
That I'm not sure, because you would have to apply for the graduate program, and then the
Mhm.
undergraduate courses aren't going to count towards the grad program. So I don't know if you can actually do them at the same time. That I have to talk to admissions about that. Because you can't use the classes for both though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the certificate is not a graduate level certificate.
Mhm.
So what Alexis is saying is if you're in both at the same time, you know, it might get confusing in the system as to which courses are counting toward what. So you may have to complete the certificate in public relations, then
Mhm.
start the master's. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
So the certificate is 6 courses. And these are the 6 right here. And this is the order in which you would take them. You have 5 that are dictated, and then we give you a choice for your 6th course. And Tamara, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So as Dr. Garcia said, Kristen, you get, you kind of have an idea, roadmap, if you will, with the matriculation guide of what you should be taking for the certificate.
Mhm.
And then we let you pick one that's kind of more aligned with maybe what you're doing or what you want to do. So whether that's a focus in nonprofit or health, or media relations or event planning, for example, you can pick that and really kind of specialize and tie it to what you're doing. Because usually the students who take the professional certificate in PR are already maybe doing the work, or they're interested in doing the work, and they want to parlay their, you know, their degree and their work with a certificate, which is, you know, completely normal. Like I have a student right now working for the Coast Guard in PR. She doesn't have a PR background, so she's just kind of, you know, obviously found herself thrown into the work, which is awesome. But dealing with, you know, government and dealing with crisis, she really felt like she needed to get the certificate to kind of help her, you know, as Benjamin mentioned, stay current, stay a student of the business, but then also have that on her resume as well for when she's, you know, up for promotion, for example. So it's an opportunity to get a little taste of what you would get as a bachelor student. Even if you have already gotten a bachelor's, but if it's not in PR, this is an opportunity for you to really solidify, you know, your experience from an educational perspective.
Okay. So would I be able to take two certificate programs at the same time, or?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
It's just that the certificate programs and the post-bac are considered undergraduate classes.
Okay.
And a graduate degree, you have to do a separate admissions application. So you wouldn't be able to enroll as a graduate student and an undergraduate student, if that makes sense. That
Yes.
brings up a good question, because when you're doing the application, a lot of PBC students sometimes do the graduate application because they have completed undergrad, but our PBC courses are still considered undergraduate classes, even though you already have a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And just to show you or anybody else who is interested on the call, this is the certificate in digital media marketing comp. So it works the same way. You would take, you know, these 5 classes, and then you would pick one to really focus on. And then most of our students, you know, again, if you're using the certificate to really kind of amplify your work experience or your desired work, you know, where you want to head. You know, for example, you could take the studio course, which is like the capstone for this program. So you're going to be taking, you know, with this capstone, for example, a course where you're building out an entire campaign from start to finish. And so it not only gives you obviously the certificate allows you to complete your certificate, but also gives you a really great work sample for your portfolio.
Great question, Kristen. Thank you. Follow up with us if you need more advice on how to apply for both of those, et cetera.
Thank you.
Yeah, I dropped everybody's email into the chat.
Mhm. Amanda, I noticed that your application says undecided. Did you have any questions for us about degree program or track specifically to help you decide? If you're trying to talk, I can't hear you. It's muted. Or Nicole, either one, if you had any questions or needed more information about a specific program. No? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for your time today. And Dr. Gregorian dropped everyone's, like she said, emails into the chat. So feel free to reach out with any additional specific questions that you might have. And we'd be happy to work with you. Because you attended the webinar today, your application fee is waived. So as you're going through the application process, if it's not showing that, just ping myself or one of us on the call, and we can make sure that that gets waived for your application. Okay. Any other questions while we have you?
Right now.
Okay. Well, so
Nice
good to meet
chat.
everybody. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Have
Bye.
a great day.
Thank you.